This is the Stockwell Eldridge Show, giving you the real-time information you need to make educated decisions about buying and selling in the world-renowned Twin Cities. Now your hosts and real estate experts, Jason Stockwell and Dawn Eldridge.
Good morning, Twin Cities.
Thanks for tuning in to the Stockwell Eldridge Radio Hour. Today, we have Sparkles in the house again. We missed you last week. Nikki was awesome, but we missed you, too.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, good morning. Stephanie Havel with Wells Fargo Home Mortgage. So, it's the Eldridge Havel show today because Jason is out for right now. So, anyways, good Sunday morning. The weather is still holding out. Beautiful fall weather for October.
Know. I love taking the dogs for walks during this time. Although with all the rain that we've had, I walk around Lake Cornelia, and it's flooded. So I'm walking way around. So, yeah, it's pretty... I'm shocked by how much water is down there, but I suppose you know.
Yeah, I actually heard that about Stillwater. Some friends are down in Stillwater.
I bet all the lakes are flooded.
I didn't realize that we got that much rain. I don't know, have we? I haven't been paying
Well, lately it
I just been working too much. I haven't been paying attention.
Me too.
To what's going on. So, so speaking of what's going on in the market, do you have a market update for us now, Dawn?
I sure do. So, new listings decreased again. Pretty typical for this time of year that listings go down. I think, homes sell year round. However, less sellers are interested in having their home on the market due to our fabulous winters and the slush and all the mud that comes into the house. So they've decreased from this time last year by 4.9% to only 1,382 new listings in the Twin Cities.
So how many total? I always kind of been tracking the number. I know in the spring we were around 8,000 or 9,000. The summer we were up to around 12. Where are we at right now? What is that number at for active listings?
So inventory decreased 16% from this time last year, and we are still holding steady at 12,728.
Okay.
It's been pretty much right around that number for couple months now.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know we just came off the Parade of Homes too, so I think that was great. Me and my team members were out looking at all the new homes and getting inspired by all the new designs and all that kind of stuff that is out there and so forth. So one thing we talk about, and our guest today,
Jack Youngren with Halo Craft Therapy.
Yes, Jack Youngren, thank you. And so we were talking a little bit off air too, Jack, about you just. Was it a first home? Was it your first home that you bought this year?
Yes.
Okay, great. So, you can kind of chime in. But right now, I mean, it is a good time for home buyers. There's a lot of programs and products out there for home buyers. One thing that we have promoting right now with Wells Fargo, November 11th is Veterans Day. So Wells Fargo has a promotion where if you purchase your home and you do your financing through Wells Fargo, you get $500 off your closing costs. So just a way for us as a company to give back to veterans. So just
that's really nice.
Yeah, just kind of something sharing. Wells Fargo, we're privileged to work with military and veteran families. And we provide training, specialized training on military and veteran culture to our team members so we can really understand, the unique needs that they need. We also offer financial literacy, scholarships. There's benefits for disabled veterans. Also hiring. Our goal right now, we have about 4,000 team members at Wells Fargo that are veterans, and we're looking to grow that. We've got some really great veteran internship programs.
Can you tell me a little more about the scholarships? I'm curious about that. I've never heard of that for a loan before. Is that something kind of new or special?
So Wells Fargo recently committed $2 million to fund scholarships and emergency grant efforts for veterans who are continuing their education. So,
wow, that's great.
Yeah, so there's always just a lot of information. Go to wellsfargo.com, or you can always call me, 612-940-7335, and I'd be glad to get you that information. But maybe Jack, so you can kind of share, we always talk about, obviously the Stockwell Eldridge team and my team at Wells Fargo, we work together. And so you were kind of talking about, so first of all, what made you decide you were ready to buy a house?
Oh, yeah, that was quite the process. My wife and I had been looking into purchasing kind of on a yearly basis and trying to get ourselves into a position where we could do so. And the year before, we kind of toyed around with it. And started talking with a realtor through one of her clients that we trusted, and toyed around with the idea. And this past fall, we decided to start actively looking. And there were a lot of houses on the market, but trying to find something that was right for us. We have 3 young children.
Mm-hmm. Where were you looking? What area?
We were pretty open. The main thing that we were toying around with was schools.
Okay.
We have a third grader right now, and we put him in a Spanish immersion elementary school.
Oh, cool.
So we were looking in different areas where we could continue that on.
And where did you end up in what city?
We are in Brooklyn Center
In
in the
Brooklyn Center.
Robbinsdale School
Okay.
District.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
There's great values out there.
Yeah, yeah. And so we found a lot of houses that could work for us in that area, and just trying to find something that was a perfect fit for us that excited us in the neighborhoods.
Are you anywhere by the light rail where that's going in?
We are not. We are
Okay.
kind of near the Caribou headquarters, right off of
Okay.
100 and France Ave there. But it was a fun process, a nerve-wracking process.
Right.
Being
I like that you said fun first, though.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
What
right.
was
because
the
it's really
most
exciting.
nerve-wracking part of it? Was it going through the financing piece or was it going through the house finding piece?
the house finding piece, I think, was the most nerve-wracking because we were lucky in that I trusted who we were working with on the
That's
financing piece.
really important.
Right. And having that relationship was a huge piece for us.
Mm-hmm.
So that took some of that stress out because if you can trust someone with all the numbers and and documents that you're sending them and all all the
Right.
e-signatures and all of
Oh,
that,
yeah.
it was overwhelming at times, but I trusted who we were working with. So the fun part was being able to go into homes and envision ourselves there.
Right.
And realtor that we worked with was able to kind of talk us through that piece because
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a big eye for design or
Right. Well,
Oh,
hey, I'm with you, Jack. I always we talk about that all the time. We have
Yeah.
so many guests on our shows, but and I think really one of the most important things that you touched on that we talk about all the time is it sounds like you were prepared.
Right.
You had spent time, again, obviously having those family discussions, with
Yeah.
your wife, on knowing what you want. I mean, I
Yep.
think we talk about that all the time. Is as people say, well, I want to buy a house. Well, okay, like you said, well, where do you want to live and what do you need?
Yeah.
And so, really, like I said, sounds like you kind of identified you're open to the area, but you have 3 kids,
Yep.
Spanish immersion school district. So, that's really, I think, great advice that we can give even to our listeners is be
Absolutely.
prepared. Again, it is and because it is a competitive market out there, Dawn. I mean, you
Right.
just read the statistics about how few homes are out there, and
Yeah.
when you do find that one. So, when you walked into the home that you purchased, did you get that feeling or how?
Yes.
Did you? Okay.
Yes.
You
Do you
just
know
knew it.
how many
Yeah.
homes do you happen to look at before you found the one?
Oh man, it was probably somewhere in between 20 and 30.
Yeah.
And I know that people have looked at a lot more than that. But we, in our price range and seeing pictures and going through, we kind of knew exactly what we were looking for. So we went into a number of them. But one of them came on the market, and our realtor called us and said, "This one just came up. I'd love to see it." And so we ran over there that night as soon as we could, and walked into it, and it was exactly what we were looking for.
And you
Oh,
had
that's
already been
fabulous.
pre-approved at the time, right?
had
Right.
been,
So again,
yes.
another good aspect. You
Right.
talked with your lender.
Yep.
You knew what the payment was going to be. You knew what you could afford.
Right.
And
Yep.
and you took the time to get all your like you said,
Yeah.
there is a lot of documents and a lot of information. But how
Yes.
awesome was that? Right. That you were prepared. You could say, hey, okay, let's make an offer. Here's my letter. You and your wife can go home and be like, okay, we know we can afford this. We
Yeah.
know what
Right.
our payment is going to be, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it sounds like your agent did a great job too of explaining the process and even looking out for you, which I have to tell you, you had a great agent.
Yeah.
It is very rare for agents to call you up and say, "Hey, I saw this house just come up.
Yeah.
Let's go look at it."
Yep.
So, kudos to your agent.
Yeah, it was great. He had a vision for us that matched our vision, and we were on the same page there. So it was a huge thing for us to be able to do that.
And I think Brooklyn Center values are going to continue to go up. You got in at a great time. I
Yeah.
think when that light rail is done, it's going to be, they've shown that housing values go up about 20% when those go
Wow.
in.
Awesome.
And Brooklyn Center, the city, is doing so much to make itself better.
Yep.
Kind of like Richfield
Well,
is
and
doing
they
a
went
lot
through
as
a
well.
lot of
and-
revitalization.
Yes,
I've
I
always
love it.
specialized
Yeah.
in those down payment assistance programs, and I remember Brooklyn Park and Brooklyn Center were hit really hard back in 2010. With
Right.
the crash, and the cities really
Yes.
invested a lot of money into homeownership, and actually, I just saw something on the news the other night. So talking about families,
Yeah.
but single women I'm a single woman, and talking about they are the largest population of home buyers and
Wow.
continue to be. I think 17% of all home buyers are single women, and only 4%. And again, please don't call me, don't quote me on those stats, because it was the other night at like 10 o'clock news. I was dozing off,
Yeah.
but it was pretty dramatic. And I fall into those statistics. I bought 2 homes.
I do too.
Both as a single woman. Yeah, I was
Yep.
gonna say, Dawn, you're single, and you've purchased your home. I've had investment properties. I think you have rental properties
Yep.
as well.
Yeah.
So, if you are a single woman listening, I mean, if you're a veteran listening, I mean, really anybody. But, I think, Jack, we're going to talk about your business in a little bit, but, same thing. It doesn't matter who you are. You're a good testament as to being prepared. There is a lot that goes into home ownership at any age, any size, whether you're a single woman. I have no kids. You have kids. You're married with 3 kids.
Right.
And knowing what's important to you and really knowing your budget. We talk to so many people and they really don't know how much
Yeah.
money do I need. And we talk about that a lot. We've got our 3% down program, which is a fantastic program. It's only 3% down. That can be a gift. So maybe mom and dad or grandpa and grandmas, have that money. And instead of for me, I just tell my quick story. I was going to get married and we were going to buy a house. And well, that just didn't quite work out. And so still wanted to buy a house. And so I said to my dad, that money that you're going to give me towards my wedding fund, can I have that for my house fund?
Right.
So, so maybe kids are out there, they're thinking, we're going to give it to them at Christmas, or we're going to wait for our tax return money. Just go ahead and get pre-approved. If you know
Yeah.
you have that money coming, go ahead, like you said, talk to a lender, somebody that you know, and
Yeah.
talk to other lenders. I mean, I think I love all my people at Wells Fargo. Same thing. I think you encourage people with realtors as well. But
Yeah.
you really know, because it can be a nerve-wracking process. But if you're prepared and you have a trusted source that you can go to that can sort it all out, sometimes we have to have hard conversations and
Yeah.
say,
And there's a lot of steps, as you know, you
Yeah,
experience
absolutely.
to the process. I think people are very surprised when they realize how many steps there are in the process because, if you have a good agent and a good lender, they help take some of that burden off of you and smooth it out. But I have seen it where things were not communicated properly and people are totally blindsided.
right. Yeah, so really good information about home ownership. And again, we'll talk with Jack Youngren with
Halo cryotherapy.
I can't say it,
And we're going to talk about
cryotherapy.
freezing your booty off. Woo!
Right.
All right. Well, stay tuned. Thanks for listening. I'm Stephanie Havel with Wells Fargo Home Mortgage.
And I'm Dawn Eldridge with Remax Results.
But it wouldn't be nothing without a woman or a girl.